And welcome back, everybody. You know, for years, the Winston Cup Series has been known as NASCAR's premier division. But this year, more than ever, the Busch Grand National Division proved it's grown into a powerhouse of its own. Mark Allen takes us back to show us how.
Every Grand National season has a personality unto itself. Some years it's Jekyll and Hyde, but 1992 was more like Junior standing up to his father. In years past, whenever the Grand National regulars ran a big money race, the Winston Cup invaders would steal the biggest share of the purse. But this year, Junior gave Dad a serious thumping. It all began at Rockingham when Ward Burton showed a snarling pack of senior circuit visitors his bumper in the closing laps for his first win. But probably the most impressive performances in giving the senior circuit boys a sound thrashing came from Robert Presley and youthful Jeff Gordon. More than once, the number 59 Olds driver was more than equal to the challenges of more experienced hot shoes en route to a series-leading 5 wins. Jeff Gordon was simply brilliant at the lucrative Charlotte races. By sweeping the 300 milers, the 21-year-old Hoosier native duplicated the feat of the late Rob Moroso. In fact, one of the top stories of the year was the big to-do that Ford made when Gordon elected to run Chevys in 1993 in Winston Cup for Rick Hendrick. It was a tribute to the high regard Gordon has held that Ford was so upset by what it considered a defection. Gordon outqualified everyone else a record 11 times. The senior circuit drivers were unable to win even half the superspeedway races they used to dominate. Another big story was the 2 longest races in series history. At the first Hickory event, the pavement broke up, which contributed to a series record 26 cautions. Given the number of laps in the race, that meant a caution about every 10 circuits. There wasn't so much a winner as a survivor, and his name was Tommy Houston. The other bizarre affair came on a broiling July afternoon at Volusia County Speedway. The heat was withering to both driver and racetrack as the asphalt came in second to the battle with 3,200-pound race cars. This event had everything a fan could want. The same could not be said for NASCAR. The red flag flew and the potholes were too big to miss. Then after much head-scratching, the race was restarted, and Jeff Gordon got a mite over-eager to get back to the front. NASCAR cooled him off for a bit. For the record, Steve Grissom tiptoed to the checkers for his only win of the year. Volusia was one of the bright spots for BGN Rookie of the Year Ricky Craven. He led for a while before spinning, but overall, the 1991 Grand National North champion found the going down south tough and highly educational. It was just a tough year, period, for Chuck Bound. An entire kennel of black cats must have walked in front of the 1990 series titleist because his luck was beyond awful. He went winless in a disaster-filled season. The year was only marginally better for the series Ironman Tommy Houston. True, he did win at Hickory, but often found himself in the back of the pack. Still, the Hickory native extended his record of starting every race since the series was formed in 1981. But by far the top story of the season was the ferocious points battle waged between Todd Bodine, Joe Nemechek, and later, Bobby Labonte. For most of the second half of the year, Bodine and Nemechek played leapfrog with the points. The month of September, nobody seemed to want the top spot. But as it got down to crunch time, Bodine had some 4 finishes, and that's when Labonte began to surge. All but given up for dead in August, the Slim Jim driver began a string of top 5 finishes that lopped off large chunks of his deficit. By the finale in Hickory, he trailed Nemechek by 33 points, which was still considered a sizable obstacle to overcome. In the past, Labonte had not run well on the 3rd-mile track. He reversed that in stunning style with a textbook victory. It was the travails that Nemechek suffered that made the November race the best of the year. Nemechek spun once early all by himself. Then he bent up a fender getting through this incident between Dennis Setzer and Jimmy Spencer. And then there was this bump under caution. No harm, but a foul on Spencer, who sat out a few laps. And then there was this spin thanks to Spencer, and somehow through all this mayhem, the Texas Pete driver didn't lose a lap. In the final 10 circuits, Nemechek clawed his way into 6th, which was just enough to win the championship by the closest margin ever, 3 points.
It's the same car we won with at Martinsville, and you know, it's just a deal where, hey, this is the way it goes. We'll just go on from here. You know, we had a good day, and Goodyear tires held up. we did what we had to do, and I never thought I'd ever win at Hickory, but hey, this feels great, it really does.
The last 15 laps after that caution, when I got Chuck, something happened to the right front, and you could hear it grinding up there, and I just come on, and then at the end I thought I could pass Mark, and Mark was running his best. I mean, he wasn't going to let me go by, and you know, Texas Pete, Lazito Pharmacy Chevrolet, all the other people that stuck with me this year, we did it. You know, this is I'm honored to be the champion, and I hope I can be a good champion next year.
The best last lap came during a TNN telecast at Martinsville in March. Kenny Wallace was on his way to his only win of the year, but there were thrills galore in the battle for second.
Here they come for the win. It is Kenny Wallace. On the bottom, Nemechek sends it sideways, taps Chuck Bound. Bound comes sliding across. And Nemechek gets second, Bound third.
But the year was not without tragedy. Clifford Allison's death during practice at Michigan shocked one and all. But as it has so many times in the past, the greater family of racing rallied to the family side with a charity softball game which raised money for Allison's children. The series came of age in 1992, and some of these so-called youngsters have proven themselves worthy of a shot at the big time. Labonte, Wallace, and Gordon go full-time Winston Cup. Nemechek and Bodine will probably run a handful of senior circuit races. The fast track to Winston Cup has clearly been established, and its name is Busch Grand National.
When we come back, we'll show you how the IMSA GTP Series fared in '92. More race day right after this.